Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. It's Tuesday, December 17th, 2024, and these are your Unbiased Updates. This morning, the Russian general in charge of nuclear, biological, and chemical forces in the war against Ukraine is dead. What we know about the bomb that went off in Moscow. And a student opens fire at a Christian school in Wisconsin, leaving 3 dead, including the shooter. What investigators have learned so far about the 15-year-old suspect.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
We begin this morning with developing news in the war between Russia and Ukraine. According to Russian officials, an explosion near an apartment building in Moscow has killed the head of Russia's nuclear and chemical forces. Officials say the explosive device, which was planted in a scooter and triggered remotely, killed Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov and his assistant. Russia's investigative committee says it is treating the bombing as a terrorist attack. Kirillov had been the head of Russia's nuclear defense forces since April of 2017. On Monday, Ukraine's security services charged Kirillov with the use of banned chemical weapons during the war. And he faced sanctions from several countries, including the UK and Canada, for his role in Ukraine. So far, there has been no word from Ukraine about the explosion. This morning, 2 Iranian men, one of whom is a dual American citizen, have been charged in connection with the deadly drone attack that killed 3 American soldiers in Jordan earlier this year. FBI specialists analyzed the drone and were able to trace its navigation system to an Iranian company operated by one of the defendants, who, according to prosecutors, relied on parts and technology funneled into the country by his alleged co-conspirator. The suspects are identified as Mahdi Mohammed Sadeghi, who prosecutors say works at a Massachusetts-based semiconductor company, and Mohammed Abedini, who was arrested in Italy. The Justice Department is seeking his extradition to Massachusetts. Both men are charged with export control violations. On top of that, Abedini also faces charges of conspiring to provide material support to Iran. Now to the latest in the deadly shooting at a school in Madison, Wisconsin that left 3 people killed, including the suspected shooter. Police say a teenage student at Abundant Life Christian School, a 15-year-old girl, opened fire inside a classroom late Monday morning, killing another student as well as a teacher. 6 others were injured. Police identified the suspect in a press conference later in the day.
The shooter has now been identified as 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow, who went by the name Samantha. She was a student at the school, and evidence suggests she died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. At this time, we believe there was only one shooter involved. We are still working to determine a motive. Detectives have talked to her family members this evening, as well as conduct a search of the shooter's home here in Madison.
Police say 2 of the injured students remain in critical condition this morning and add it is not clear if the teacher and teenage student who were killed were targeted. In response to the shooting, President Biden issued a statement calling for Congress to pass more gun safety laws, including universal background checks, a national red flag law, and a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Despite the U.S. Supreme Court ruling earlier this year on presidential immunity, a New York judge says he will not throw out President-elect Donald Trump's conviction on 34 charges of falsifying business records related to payments made to porn actor Stormy Daniels to influence the 2016 presidential election. Donald Trump has denied any wrongdoing, including Daniels' claims of a sexual relationship between the two. Trump was originally set to be sentenced in the so-called hush money case on November 22nd, but Judge Juan Merchan postponed it to allow both sides more time to present arguments related to potentially dismissing the case. Trump's lawyers had asked to dismiss the case, citing the U.S. Supreme Court ruling in July, giving a president wide immunity from prosecution. Trump Communications Director Stephen Chung called Monday's decision to allow the case to continue a, quote, direct violation of the Supreme Court's decision on immunity and other long-standing jurisprudence. It's still unclear when or if a sentencing date will be set. Prosecutors have already agreed the president-elect would not be sentenced while in office, But the Manhattan District Attorney's Office has argued in legal filings the felony conviction should still stand. President-elect Donald Trump met with the CEO of TikTok yesterday at Trump's Mar-a-Lago, Florida resort as the popular social media platform faces a ban in the United States. Earlier this year, in a show of bipartisan support, Congress passed a measure that would ban TikTok in the U.S. as of January 19th, and President Biden signed it into law. A federal court upheld that move earlier this month. Trump originally tried to ban TikTok during his first administration, but has since reversed course, vowing on the campaign trail to save the app. But during a press conference before yesterday's meeting with the TikTok CEO, the president-elect addressed the matter.
How do you plan to stop the ban on TikTok next month?
We'll take a look at TikTok. You know, I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok because I won youth by 34 points. And there are those that say that TikTok had something to do with that.
TikTok filed an emergency application with the U.S. Supreme Court yesterday, asking for a temporary injunction that would delay the ban while the company seeks a formal review by the justices. Today, Donald Trump is set to meet with Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos at Mar-a-Lago. He is then expected to sit down with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos tomorrow. Finally this morning, a Christmas story, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, and yes, even Die Hard. These are just some of the beloved classic films watched this time of year. And now Amazon is hoping it has found the next big holiday hit. Red One, the holiday action movie film starring Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans, is now Amazon MGM Studios' most watched film debut ever on its Prime Video streaming service. The movie pulled in a record-breaking 50 million viewers worldwide during its first 4 days of streaming. The film, which cost $200 million to make, was originally set to be a Prime Video exclusive, but the studio switched course and first premiered it in theaters last month. Red One surpasses Jake Gyllenhaal's Roadhouse for Prime Video's most watched film debut, and now Amazon says this film will, quote, clearly be a perennial holiday favorite for years to come. Time will tell if it will join the other holiday classics, but it's off to a good start. Those are your unbiased updates for Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.